Voting participation in general has been on the decline since the 1960s, but last year marked the lowest turnout across the country since 1942. Only a little over 36% of eligible voters participated in the election. With these numbers in mind, state lawmakers are looking to change the way Florida voters register. Here to explain this is this hour's newsmaker, Representative Alan B. Williams, Democrat from District 8, encompassing parts of Leon and Gadsden County here in North Florida. We are in Tallahassee. Representative Williams, it's great to have you here.
No, it's great to be here. I have the shortest commute amongst any lawmaker in the state of Florida, so I like it that way.
So let's talk about this, this registering voters online. Many people would say, well, this is subject to fraud. How could people register online? But you contend, and others in the state legislature contend, this could actually be a safer method and a more reliable method.
Well, it's a safer method. It saves money. Over time, our databases are stronger and richer because of doing it online. And quite honestly, we're already doing it. 90% of your voter application can be done online now. It's just that now it's just that 10% that we're trying to fix. We have to print it out and take it over to the supervisor of elections office. With our databases that we have through Department of Highway Safety and Motor Vehicles, we can close that 10% gap, do it online, and get like the other 20 plus states around the country, both Republican and Democratic led states that both have adopted this, with Arizona being the first.
So you can physically get people to go online and register, but can you physically get them to go to the polls once they've done that? There's the issue. You're still not going to be voting online. You actually have to get out to the voting booth to vote. So how do you do that?
Well, for folks to know that this isn't voting online. A lot of folks think with this bill it's going to allow folks to vote online. No, we don't want to create an Olivia Pope type fiasco here where the president is picked in some shadowy room. This is about getting folks to register to vote, right? The fundamental building block of our democracy. And so we're going to try and pass this bill. And then it's up to the candidates, it's up to the issues that are brought before those voters to do that. With the millennial generation who are used to doing everything on a smartphone and everything, we can no longer be in a typewriter mentality in an iPad world. And so that's what this is all about, modernizing our voter registration system.
Then the next logical step would be, hey, why can't we vote online, actually, instead of going out to the polls? That would certainly improve turnout. Do you ever see a time where we might actually be voting by computer, voting by smartphone?
I think so. I think in our lifetime, look, 20 years ago, no one said that they would be doing all their banking and depositing their checks through a smartphone. So, you know, that technology is improving our way of life, but also there's some safeguards that we have to make sure that we have in place. And so that step is a much further down the road step, but I think with technology, with the safeguards we have in place, that we can get to that point. But right now, we just want to get folks registered. We want to get more folks involved in the political process. Online voter registration solves that.
Another issue you'll be dealing with in the legislature is body cameras for police officers. There's been a lot of incidents, misunderstandings between police and some minority groups that have been in the news very publicly. You're introducing legislation that would mandate that police be equipped with body cameras so that these things can be recorded and seen.
Well, look, we already have it now. We have dash cams. We see a lot of the interactions that happen with police officers. What we don't see is when that police officer gets out of the car and engages a suspect or engages a citizen who may not be doing anything wrong. And so it really is a transparency tool for not only the police, but also for the average citizen. So we want to make sure that we close that gap between what happens outside of the car and what happens when they engage a suspect or engage a citizen here in the state of Florida. And we think that it's a great way to do that. And a lot of times when we don't have that footage, we can no longer say that the cop do what he was supposed to do, or did the suspect or the person that was involved, were they responsible? And so we're trying to close that transparency gap.
A lot of people thinking about the incidents in Ferguson, New York City, and of course the Trayvon Martin case here in Florida just a few years ago, still fresh on our minds. Do you think things would have been different if we had body cameras in those cases?
Well, the incidents may have still occurred, but the information that we did not know would have been different. Obviously in the Trayvon matter, the body camera would have never been on George Zimmerman to begin with, but on the other situations, we've seen a number of cases being solved because we said, you know what, the police officer acted inappropriately. 95% of the time, 99% of the time, our police officers are doing what they're supposed to do, keeping us safe, right? Protect and defend. And so this is not an attack on our police officers. This is really to help them out and give them greater transparency to say, you know what, that police officer did what he was supposed to do, and we want to make sure that it happened. But in those cases where he or she didn't, we also want to know that as well.
Well, Representative Allen Williams from right here in Tallahassee, sounds like you got a plate full of issues to deal with this legislative session. Thanks very much for being on with us. Good luck this year.
Well, I appreciate it. Thank you for having me on.
And thank you for watching from Tallahassee. I'm Phil Latzman.